Today, live at 5, we celebrate a new beginning. The 90s are finally here, and we remember the days of Auld Lang Syne. Plus, Carrie Toby will be along with Cotton Bowl highlights, and Corey Barron will have your first weather of the 90s. So stay with us. Live at 5 is next.
All of us at Noon on 5 wish you a safe New Year's weekend and a happy 1990. We'll kick off the New Year Tuesday with the return of my old buddy Mary Lee. Paula Hambright will come by to tell us what's happening at the Humane Society. And Riley will come by for a few chuckles. And we'll hear about one of my favorite topics, Girl Scout cookies. If you're as fond of Thin Mints as I am, you won't want to miss the next Noon on 5. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes, you can at American College. With American College's financial aid programs and day and night classes, there's no excuse. Plus, with American College's job placement assistance, you'll be on your way to exciting new business careers. Yes, you can. Call American College. Classes are starting today. Get the training, get the job. Call now. American College.
Yes, you can at American College.
This is the Newspeople, live at 5.
The world rings in the new year, saying goodbye to the 80s and hello to the final decade of the 20th century. Good afternoon and Happy New Year to you. I'm Kimberly Marsh. Thank you for joining us live at 5. It's a day of new beginnings for everyone. A Fayetteville couple is ringing in the new year with a new baby. Mike and Regina Hurd gave birth to Gregory Hurd at 12:16 this morning. Now, Gregory weighs 7 pounds and is 20¼ inches long. He was the first baby born at Washington Regional Medical Center this year. In Fort Smith, Terry and Anita Collier of Lavaca are celebrating the birth of a 7-pound, 10-ounce baby boy. Andrew Vernon arrived at 12:32 this morning. Congratulations to both families. That's terrific. New Yorkers are also welcoming a new face today. David Dinkins took the oath of office as New York City's first ever black mayor. Dinkins was elected over Republican Rudolph Giuliani in November. Earlier, Dinkins beat longtime incumbent Edward Koch to win the Democratic nomination. The new mayor promised to give more power to the city's individual neighborhoods to help the city move forward. Well, we all celebrate New Year's in our own special way, but this New Year was special in many parts of the world. Charles Osgood reports some are celebrating the New Year with new liberties.
The bells at the Kremlin rang in the new decade, tolling uncertain years ahead for the changing Soviet Union. Later, as the clock struck midnight in Berlin, hundreds of thousands of people from East and West Germany celebrated their new togetherness at the Brandenburg Gate. Rockets lighted the scarred monument in a symbolic glare of liberty, while revelers danced atop the Berlin Wall. At midnight in New York, the lighted ball descended over Times Square, where as many as 200,000 people turned out, despite a soaking rain. Hundreds of balloons fell from the high ceiling of a Chicago hotel onto revelers below, and then something to lighten up any party: indoor fireworks. In Houston, a 20-foot Lone Star rose to the top of the Commerce Tower at midnight, and the sky show thrilled a crowd of 30,000 people in Market Square. In Washington, New Year's Eve at the National Institute of Standards and Technology was marked by the usual drone of the official timekeeper's voice.
Universal time, 0 hours, 0 minutes, exactly.
But this year, scientists made an adjustment, adding 1 additional second to the world's clocks, a leap second, because old Mother Earth is slowing down.
The Earth is rotating at a slower rate now, and because of that, we have to adjust our atomic clocks to bring them into conjunction with the rotation of the Earth.
Americans and Soviets rang in the new year with messages from the other nation's leader. Area roads were safer than usual this New Year's Eve. The reason? Lots of folks took part in the Care Cab program, which provided free taxi service to anyone who needed a ride home. Several nightclub owners in our area also noticed an increase in the number of parties using designated drivers. Lawmen in the Fort Smith area made only 14 DWI arrests, while in northwest Arkansas, 2 arrests were reported in Fayetteville and 3 each in Rogers and Springdale. Lawmen also say the low number of DWI arrests is because New Year's fell on a Sunday. For the 7th year in a row, the Care Cab hit the road to make the holidays a little safer for those who partied a little too hard. Program Director Carol Latta joins us now to talk about the success of this year's campaign. Thank you so much for being with us today on your holiday.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, we would love to have you. Now, tell me first of all, how many people called last night?
We had 327 people that we transported home, this is our 7th year for the program, and this is the greatest number we have ever transported.
Now, will it be running tonight at all? I understand, you know, everybody's watching bowl games and everything and maybe partying a little bit, not because of the hogs, though, I understand, but will it be running tonight at all?
Yes, till 3 a.m. the 2nd, which would be tomorrow.
Okay.
So if we have any overdone hogs, they can use it again tonight.
All righty. When do you start getting ready for next year?
We'll start in November. But I think what's important with this program is this is just 1 week out of the year, but what we hope to do is maybe make people look at their behavior. Maybe they'll try something at our expense and find out that taking a cab home is a pretty good solution. I don't think it's the cost of a cab that keeps people from using it. The average bill is $3, $4, $5, $6, which isn't very expensive. Often a drink costs that much. I think people just don't have that in their behavioral repertoire. They don't think to call a cab.
Yeah.
So we hope by trying, you know, it's on us this first time that maybe this will make someone more likely to, if they have this same problem throughout the year, to try something like this in the future.
Okay. One last question for you. The fact that New Year's fell on a Sunday, did that have any effect at all?
Well, the effect it had is people had 2 New Year's. Looking at my slips, there was a New Year's Saturday night and a New Year's Sunday night. So I think it didn't reduce anybody's partying. It probably made it multiply by 2.
Okay. That's all the time we have. Thank you, Carol, for being with us, and continued success with your program.
All right. Thank you.
Well, it's been one of the safest New Year's weekends on record on Arkansas and Oklahoma highways. The Arkansas State Police say so far no one has died in highway accidents. In Oklahoma, troopers say 3 have died, but none in our area. The counting period ends midnight tonight. Well, did you have a wonderful New Year's?
Yeah, until about an hour ago.
Yeah, I know. I even wore my hog red.
Our sunny forecast turned gloomy real quick. Unfortunately, the hogs didn't do well, but the weather department, we're still flying high. It looks like a good forecast for the rest of the week. I'll tell you all about it right after this.
One of the things that we're doing at Charter Vista Hospital is that we're offering a range of services for people. If you're experiencing depression or anxiety, problems at home with adolescents or children, chemical dependency problems, we can help at Charter. When I see people solving problems in new and different ways that lead them to happier and more fulfilled lives, I feel really good about that. If you don't get help at Charter, please get help somewhere.
What are people saying about electric heat pumps?
When I installed the first electric heat pump in my home, I couldn't have been more pleased. Electricity is the safest, most efficient way to heat and cool a home, and my heat pump is the most efficient. So when it came time to choose a new heating and cooling system, after doubling my floor space on this new addition, there was only one choice to make, an electric heat pump.
Ozarks Electric Cooperative, your partner for good living.
Okay, life goes on. We'll have an optimistic, upbeat weathercast no matter what happened down here today. Big high pressure on top of the northern sections of Texas gave the folks down in the Cotton Bowl plenty of sunshine. We just wish they'd had more sunshine in the end zone. Lots of sunshine throughout the midsection of the country, but we have a storm system taking shape out in the west, and it looks like it'll all get its act together and could possibly give us some problems before the week is out. Now, already we're seeing some big snows in the Cascades of Washington and Oregon, all the way in the Sierras, up to 6 inches possible in that region tonight. But with all the sunshine around here, we had some very pleasant temperatures. Different story in the northeastern quarter of the United States as the snows continue to fall throughout that area. We still have some icy roads from Ohio into New York, although it looks like that most of the freezing rain has stopped. and there's just seen some light snow right now along the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio, along the lakes, and in the southern sections of New York. But you look down to the south, not much is happening throughout Dixie nor throughout this area. Southern Texas, around the Rio Grande, still some rains. This is snow in the higher elevations, rain along the coastline. That is the system we'll be watching and could possibly, just possibly, bring us some rain sometime Wednesday or Thursday. With the sunshine today, we had temperatures in the 50s and 40s. We are right on that edge. Some folks did hit the 50s in the southern part of our viewing area, 40s in the northern parts. A little cooler in the northeast, but still not too bad compared to what we had a week and a half ago when we're well below zero, even in the daytime. Lots of sunshine again tomorrow. High pressure, though, will be sliding to the east, and as that happens, we'll start picking up some southerly winds, and they could be kind of gusty tomorrow, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour. That'll help pump up the temperature, and it'll also set us up for a possibility of rain because it'll pump in moisture, and when this front slides on in sometime Wednesday, we could get some rain around here, but we'll definitely have some cloud cover once that front arrives. Clear skies in Fort Smith, 41 degrees right now, and northeast winds at 6. In Fayetteville, the winds are coming in from the southwest, so the temperature is slightly warmer, 44 degrees, after a high in both locations of 48. Tonight, cold and practically no wind, 23 to 25. Winds may pick up as the evening progresses or in the early morning hours. Chilly tomorrow morning when you start the day out, but by tomorrow afternoon, plenty of sunshine with some gusty south winds, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour, 48 to 55 for highs tomorrow. Clear night tomorrow night, still cool, right out or slightly above the freezing mark, and then Wednesday clouding up and maybe some rain. The chances of rain aren't real great at this point, but it's in the forecast, and we need it so desperately. I'm going to mention it.
Okay, that's terrific. How much rain did we get before when we, I remember like a few days ago we had some showers, do you remember?
We tallied about anywhere between a quarter of an inch to 3/4 of an inch, depending where you were, but that wasn't enough.
No, certainly not.
Oh gosh,
okay.
We need a lot more than that.
Yes, we do. Thanks, Corey. We will all look back at the 1980s for a number of reasons, but when we come back, we'll remember how Mother Nature left her mark on the 80s.
Do our viewers know something about world leaders and events that you don't? Do they know something about the economy, personal finance, health, and consumer issues that you've missed? Do they know something about people in the spotlight that you haven't spotted? All of a sudden, CBS This Morning has become the insider's choice. Want to know why? Watch Kathleen Sullivan and Harry Smith, weekdays on CBS This Morning.
Life in the 90s should be better thanks to the many ways we learned to control nature in the decade just past. But Richard Roth reports the 80s still saw us at the mercy of Mother Nature.
The decade's achievements in science and technology might have encouraged a belief that man can order the universe. But one lesson of the 80s was the power of nature, an awesome reminder of what's still beyond man's control. 1980 erupted with Mount St. Helens, the volcano in southwest Washington, exploding in a giant blast, hurling ash and steam 60,000 feet up. Molten rock sweeping down the slopes of the volcano devastated an area of 120 square miles. But time healed the Earth's wounds. Volcanic ash has nourished the soil, and at decade's end, the ravaged land is recovering. Earthquakes in the 80s claimed more than 50,000 human lives and destroyed property worth billions of dollars. By far the worst in Soviet Armenia, the 1988 quake that left at least 25,000 dead. A year later, the earth shook in California, a deadly and terrifying reminder it can happen here. In Mexico City in 1985, after an earthquake, a baseball stadium was made a morgue. But in that destruction and despair, there was also a symbol of human strength and courage. The mother who shielded the body of her newborn child as they lay buried in the rubble of a hospital maternity ward. The mother died, the infant lived. There were events no one predicted. Cameroon in Central Africa, 1986. A cloud of poison gas from a volcanic lake that drifted over villages and killed 1,600 people. And predictable events that couldn't be stopped. the hurricanes, Allen, Alicia, Gilbert, Joan, Hugo, the course of a storm changing the course of many lives, and human resiliency in the aftermath, picking up, rebuilding, going on. The other wild cards of nature, tornadoes and floods, monsoons, mudslides, forest fires, all were played out in the 1980s. But what may have been the decade's worst disaster was only partly the fault of nature. Devastating famine in sub-Saharan Africa, an event triggered by drought, but made worse by politics and war. In Ethiopia, at the height of the famine, it's estimated 6,000 people died each day. The final toll of agony and death in Ethiopia and the Sudan will never be known. The images may never be forgotten. But part of the legacy may have been the world's response. The most visible and publicized was the rock music performance called Live Aid, a charity concert carried by satellite around the globe. The music made an estimated $70 million for famine relief, and Live Aid's organizer, Bob Geldof, was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace. Yet that was only part of the relief effort. Thousands of individuals throughout the world donated money and time and labor, and each was a reminder that while mankind in the 80s couldn't prevent the destruction that is part of nature, men and women could respond to it with generosity. Richard Roth, CBS News, New York.
From real-life drama to Hollywood drama, any of us who spent any time at the theater last year has their own idea of the best films of the year. CBS News reviewer Dennis Cunningham also has his own list of the best of the past year.
The movie Glory, based on the true story of an all-black regiment in the Civil War, beautifully acted, lovingly directed, rousing and overpowering, and the best picture of the year. All right, so Batman made all that money, but in fact, director Tim Burton's movie was a haunting vision.
It's gonna be a scorching day.
Spike Lee's vivid and deeply felt Do the Right Thing, a remarkable story of a summer day in Brooklyn, certainly one from the heart and mind.
Veronica, drool much?
Heathers, a wicked, low-budget satire of high school power and politics. Disney came back into top form with animation, music, story, character, all combined to make The Little Mermaid nearly perfect and a new Disney classic.
No, no.
Sex, Lies, and Videotape, young Steven Soderbergh's small but original story of love cold and love warm, love lost and love found.
I don't need you. I don't want you. And I don't like you saying I'm rich.
Well, I won't say it no more.
Director Bruce Beresford has fashioned a remarkable movie of friendship out of the off-Broadway hit Driving Miss Daisy, with large help from Jessica Tandy and Morgan Freeman providing two outstanding performances.
Thing is, no matter how good a rip-off artist you are, sooner or later, you pay the price.
The small movie sleeper of the year, I think. Gus Van Sant's utterly unpredictable drugstore cowboy, Matt Dillon terrific as the leader and the conscience of a group of druggies.
Talk to me, Emmett.
The movie In Country, Bruce Willis and Norman Jewison's thoughtful, deeply touching movie about coming to terms with the Vietnam War. In Country, the long overdue Vietnam peace movie.
Sad youth. Come on, Mr. Overstreet, you twerp. Morose? Exactly, morose.
And finally, Robin Williams as a vibrant English teacher in Peter Weir's Dead Poet Society. There's not a whole lot of terribly subtle stuff about it, but it works powerfully, and that's the important thing. Okay, just to recap them, Glory, which hasn't broken wide yet, Batman, Do the Right Thing, coming in video very soon, Heathers, already in video, The Little Mermaid, Sex, Lies, and Videotape, Driving Miss Daisy, also not very wide yet, Drugstore Cowboy, In Country, and Dead Poet Society. So, hello, 1990, and onward and upward with the movies. I'm Dennis Cunningham for CBS News.
Well, we've all heard the old saying, all's fair in love and war. When we come back, we'll meet a couple which has seen its share of both in the last few days.
Welcome to the Fayetteville Park Inn, where business and pleasure go hand in hand.
In the Park Place restaurant, the chef and his staff go out of their way to make lunch or dinner a relaxing experience. After work, meet friends or clients for club dining at City Lights. And the Park Inn has luxury accommodations for every taste. So relax and enjoy yourself at the Fayetteville Park Inn, where business and pleasure go hand in hand.
The U.S. invasion of Panama spoiled holiday plans for thousands of military families. But as Stu Emery reports, 2 Pennsylvania soldiers still found their way from the battle zone to the altar.
Just a week ago, the groom was flying combat troops into Panama to free political prisoners. And the bride, who pilots a medevac helicopter, was treating the wounded in a hospital emergency room. But as the action wound down, the Army let them have their scheduled leaves. And today, friends and family gathered to watch them take their wedding vows.
I introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. Walford and Mary Elizabeth Zivkovich.
Mary Beth is from California, Washington County, Bob from Bethel Park. But it took tours of duty in Panama for them to meet, and it was Panama that almost stopped today's wedding.
I'm just very, very happy that we made it home and we were able to get married. It's been wonderful, like a dream.
The new husband and wife agree that though the timing of the invasion wasn't the best for them, it was necessary.
I think the United States and the U.S. Army and I guess all armed forces did an outstanding job. It was a good operation when it was perfect.
And they got you two home to get married besides.
They sure did, and we're so happy.
In case you're wondering, the new bride outranks her husband. She is a captain, and he is a lieutenant. I wonder if he has to salute her or something. The Razorbacks go bowling with some volunteers. Carrie will have the highlights from Dallas and all the other bowls when we come back.
Did you know that of the 10,000 companies doing business in our area, over 600 are manufacturers? Industries in Arkansas and Oklahoma make a significant contribution to our American lifestyle. They're helping to provide the food, clothing, household goods, and recreational equipment which add to the quality of life all across the USA.
Levi Strauss & Company reminds you you can do your part to keep our local economy strong when you buy Arkansas and Oklahoma first.
What?
I wore my Razorback red.
You did.
And it did not work.
No, it didn't. Well, was I better to deal with today than the UNLV game?
Yes,
Okay, I was
UNLV
very quiet.
game, he was screaming.
I was very
Saturday.
quiet today, I guess taking my lumps just like the Razorbacks did. Beautiful weather greeted 70,000 plus this afternoon at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas as the Southwest Conference champion Razorbacks hosted SEC co-champ Tennessee. Now, the Hogs' big motivation coming in was a dismal performance last year in Dallas, gaining only 42 yards in total offense in a 17-3 loss to UCLA. Ken Hatfield in his 6th straight bowl game as Arkansas head coach. The Vols get on the board first. A 23-yard field goal by Greg Burt makes the score 3-0 Tennessee, but the Arkansas offense came out fired up. Hogs on the Tennessee 49. Grovey on the option would keep. Now, there was some question about his health coming into the game after waking up with the flu, but he looks like this same old grooving Grovey to me, scrambling for 16 yards. The drive went in from the 1-yard line. Barry Foster taking it in, and Arkansas takes the 6-3 lead. Now, a bad snap on the point-after attempt would leave it at that score. 6-3, Arkansas has the advantage. Now, after a volunteer punt, the Hogs were on the move again. Arkansas on their own 39-yard line. Grovey on the option. This time he pitches to Rouse, and Rouse takes off down to the 37-yard line. A gain of 24 on the play. The Hogs keep the drive alive, but then it began. All the trouble for Arkansas. At the Tennessee 14-yard line, the Hogs give the ball to Kerwin Price. Price would make some nice yardage, but he fumbles the ball. And Tennessee recovers at the 8-yard line. Volunteers football. But Arkansas D holds again as the offense begins another march to the goal line. This time, more disaster. Grovey is intercepted by Tennessee's Carl Pickens. Pickens returns it to the 12. Arkansas was on the 2-yard line and missed another scoring opportunity. This time the Vols would make Arkansas pay for its mistake as Ken Hatfield grieves about the play. 2 plays later from their own 16, Andy Kelly drops back He just goes long to Anthony Morgan, a wide open Anthony Morgan, 84 yards in the touchdown, the second longest touchdown strike in Cotton Bowl history. Tennessee makes the 14-point swing, keeping Arkansas out of the end zone and then getting their own quick 7 points. The momentum continued to turn Tennessee's way. Hogs forced to punt. Vols take it to the 1-yard line where freshman running back Chuck Webb takes it in for another volunteer score. That would make the halftime score Hogs trailing 17-6. 2 turnovers inside the 10-yard line in the first half, costing the Hogs dearly. Now in the second half, unfortunately, more of the same for Arkansas. Hogs take the opening kickoff, begin to drive downfield from the Tennessee 33. Barry Foster loses the handle. Vols recover. Hogs would not. Tennessee makes it 24-6 from the 1-yard line. Kelly hits Greg Amsler on the out pass. Touchdown Volunteers. Everything falling apart for the Razorbacks, but the troops regain their composure. Hogs going a long drive without turning the ball over this time. From the 1-yard line, Rouse gets the touchdown. Arkansas trails 24-13, but Tennessee, unbelievable. They get it right back quickly from their own 21-yard line. Watch this guy run. He's a freshman now. Chuck Webb, a super run to the goal line. Following his blockers, watch the cutback at the 25-yard line. Perfect play. 79 yards for the touchdown. Vols take the 31-13 lead, but the Hogs again refuse to die. Those scrapping Razorbacks. Taking it down to the 1, Foster puts it in from there. Touchdown, Arkansas. A successful 2-point conversion cuts the lead to 10 at 31-21. After that, the Hogs failed on a 4th down conversion and a field goal, but with a minute and a half left, an amazing play. From their own 33, Grovey finds tight end Billy Winston. Winston takes off after breaking a couple of tackles, fumbles. Watch him fumble at the goal line. Arkansas could lose another chance, but no. Billy gets back on top of it. Touchdown, Arkansas. Now, the Razorbacks would go for 2. They didn't make it. Then an onside kick also was unsuccessful. Tennessee just all they had to do was kill the clock. Arkansas was out of timeouts. And for the second year in a row, the Razorbacks leave Dallas without a win. Final score in this one, 31-27. 3 turnovers deep in Volunteer territory is the story for the Razorbacks. Arkansas finishes the season at 10-2. Just like last year, the Volunteers up their record to 11-1. Freshman sensation Chuck Webb had a heck of a game, rushing for 248 yards, 25 carries, 2 touchdowns. So a couple of things combined made it so rough for the Razorbacks. Yeah. 3 turnovers and the running of Chuck Webb. We just we held with him. We just couldn't get in the end zone ourselves.
Tough break for the Hogs. Yeah. Oh well. Thanks, Kerry. Well, we've already seen one batch of hogs strutting their stuff, unsuccessfully, like the way I'm talking. But when we come back, we will see another pride of prancing porkers.
It's time to get your shooting eye in shape for the first annual shootout. 4-on-4 basketball tournament to benefit the Razorback chapter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. $70 tax-deductible entry fee will get your team onto the court at West Ark Community College January 6th and 7th. Best 3 teams will take home the prizes. Entries are limited to the first 30 teams. Entry forms available at Midwest Sporting Goods, TV5, and the MDA office. So come join the TV5 first team and help us shoot out muscular dystrophy.
When most think of pigs, we think of football, basketball, or maybe bacon and ham. Well, Jonathan Mumm found some hogs hoping to hit it big somewhere besides the field or the frying pan.
A year ago, Oliver the Chinese pot-belly pig was a house pet who romped on the couch. Today, he looks like the couch. Is he still as much fun full-grown as he was as a piglet?
Well, his personality has continuously developed, so he's even more fun, really, to have around. He has his own opinions about things.
The bigger question, though, at 50 pounds, is he still allowed on the couch? Yes, if he can get up there.
But Oliver isn't just an ordinary house pig anymore. No, he's put an act together and he's taken it on the road.
But Oliver isn't a solo. Billed as Oliver Piggy and the Pigrific Brothers, he's got a couple of young assistants, Otis and Porter. The owners of these pigs bought them after seeing Oliver at the state fair.
My wife said, I'm not having any more animals in the house, and the next thing I know, a few days later, we were buying pigs.
How is life on the road with a bunch of performing pigs?
It's not as hard as you'd think it is. These guys, once you get in the car, they fall asleep before you get off the block, and they travel very well.
Everybody here believes that Chinese pot-belly pigs are going to start showing up in commercials, TV shows, and in the movies. And they hope these pigs will be the first ones to do it.
Well, now, are you afraid that all of this publicity and all these performances and everything are going to go to their heads?
It might. We're going to have to be very careful.
They're working now to teach the pigs to go through a hoop, take an obstacle course, even do some barrel racing. But if these pigs are really going to make the big time, somebody's got to teach them not to hog the camera. In Nevada City, this is Jonathan Mumm for CBS News.
Whatever. Well, of course, today's game in Dallas was the big one for Razorback fans this year. Tonight at 6, we'll show you how some of them mourned. Kevin Bowman is here with a preview.
Mourn is the right word. Yeah. Unfortunately, a great game, though. Well, there are all sorts of different ways to cheer the Hogs on, and tonight we'll show you how some folks did it. Also tonight, what is your New Year's resolution? We'll find out how some people will try and improve themselves this year. And, of course, we will go live to Dallas for a Cotton Bowl recap with Mike Irwin and Ken Hughey. Those stories and a lot more are coming up tonight at 6.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, how does the beginning of the 90s look?
Well, south breeze is heading our way for our second day of 1990, and on Wednesday, cloudy skies and a possibility of some rain with a little cooler air in here on Thursday. Tonight's Color the Weather winner is Heather Sally of Fort Smith, age 10. A beautiful sunny day in Heather's picture. Nice going.
It certainly is. Thanks, Corey. Thank you for joining us live at 5. The CBS Evening News is next. We'll be back at 6.
A New Year's Eve day settlement of the bitter Pittston coal strike, a controversial 1990 hike in Social Security taxes, and the Army brings home some GIs from Panama. This is the CBS Evening News. Connie Chung sitting in for Dan Rather. Good evening and Happy New Year. The new year has brought a long-awaited settlement in the Pittston coal strike. Federal and labor officials announced a tentative agreement today, saying they think both sides are happy. An accomplishment considering how ugly the strike had been. Eric Engberg reports.
With Appalachian coal miners and their families lining up to block plant gates, hundreds of arrests and sporadic violence, the 9-month strike by the United Mine Workers Union against Pittston Coal was among the most bitter of the decade. That acrimony was all under the rug today at the Labor Department as Secretary Elizabeth Dole toasted a settlement with the protagonists.
I think it is a great settlement, not only good for the mine workers and Pittston, but good for the industry, good for collective bargaining, and yet good for the nation.
The issue which had brought on the strike and ensured its turbulence was the company's effort to cut its contributions to the miners' pension and medical plans. Union officials, while withholding details, said today's tentative agreement includes a satisfactory pension and health package. One union source said the members who vote on the contract over the next 2 weeks would be tickled with that part of the agreement.
I think their membership's going to be happy.
While the strike directly involved only 1,700 miners working for Pittston in Virginia, West Virginia, and Kentucky, wildcat walkouts spread briefly to much of the eastern U.S. At union offices across Appalachia, the end was greeted with relief.
And I'm sure what they send down, the rank and file is going to be more than happy to accept.
This strike was so rancorous, the union rolled up $65 million in fines in various courts for law violations. Under the agreement reached by management and labor in their newfound Old Lang Syne mood, both sides will now go to the courts to ask that those fines be dropped. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
You can expect fewer dollars in your paycheck this week. A Social Security tax increase kicked in today, and it's nothing to take lightly. CBS News business correspondent Ray Brady explains what it means to you.
Whether they're making movies or moving mountains, America's more than 120 million workers face a big jump in Social Security taxes, one starting today.
It just seems like every time you turn around, there's something else coming out.
It's called FICA on your pay stub, the Social Security tax. And with the new year, you pay this tax on the first $51,300 of income, up from $48,000. The tax rate will rise, too.
For people in the low-income range, say $20,000 or below, the FICA tax is far greater than the income tax.
For those making $20,000, the increase will be only $28 a year, but the total tax will be more than $1,500. Making more than $51,300? Tax up by almost $320. Total, nearly $4,000.
These higher rates are to pay for the time when today's massive baby boom generation retires. So there's now a surplus.
But the government has been borrowing from that surplus to pay for many government programs. It works this way. Any surplus from Social Security goes to the Treasury. That money cuts down the government's deficit, with Social Security getting a government IOU in return. An IOU, critics say, to be paid for by future generations.
The word is thievery. We're not going to use a payroll tax to finance